How long does heroin stay in your system? Well, in reality, just a few days. Could be anywhere from 24 to 48 to 72 hours. But the problem is that physically it stays in your system for that amount of time. Mentally and emotionally, it could stay in your system a lot longer. When I say that is because heroin's captivating. When you actually do it a lot, like it becomes a way of life for you and you become dependent upon it. So when you don't do it, then you don't know how to live. And when that becomes something that you've truly fallen in love with and it's your everything, your go-to, basically you have a relationship with this drug, this substance that, it just rules your life. How are you going to be able to let that go? Often I see people come into the recovery space that are trying to kick heroin. Obviously, nobody wants to deal with the withdrawals. So they come to detoxify themselves. They go through a detox. They'll get comfort meds. Sometimes they'll get put on a taper. Some people will do methadone depending how long they've been doing it or what's been recommended to them. However, when coming off of it, sometimes people just don't know how to deal with life. They feel like they are just, trying to climb out of their own skin. And so at first, they'll go through this process. They're gung-ho about staying sober. But over a period of time, what happens is their thought process starts to kind of, like a hamster wheel. It just starts moving and moving. And they become restless, irritable, discontented. They don't know exactly what to do with themselves. They'll come up with excuses. They'll think that they have to get back to their life, that their life was really working for them. An active heroin addict usually doesn't really have a good life. There's a lot of things that are starting to crumble around them. Their style of living, their living space. They can't really function in the workplace. And then all of a sudden they'll come up with these excuses of why they need to quickly get back to that life. But in reality, if somebody goes to detoxify from heroin, the best thing to really think about is the mind, body, and spirit. The body, sure. In physical sense, you want to go and you're going to get off of it and not be dependent upon the heroin anymore. But then also the spirit and your mind, we've got a mind that once we start, we can't stop. So as a heroin addict, once we start, we can't stop, and that means that we're back on another run. Majority of people that go for detox from heroin end up doing heroin again. They just, during that time, had a really hard time withdrawing. And they know that their life's not working for them. So they truly, I think their heart's in the right place. They want to go get the help. Unfortunately, when they start to actually have a few days of not being on it, that's where they start getting these bright ideas of, I got enough information. I'm good now. I don't have it in me. They'll even try to convince people around them that they're going to be fine and they're not going to go get high. And, they may go out and they may be good for a couple of days. Some of them might immediately go and get high, but they may be good for a couple of days. And when they are good for a couple of days, then again, they might start with doing smaller stuff, smoking some marijuana or drinking some alcohol. But it usually always takes them right back to their drug of choice, which is heroin. Heroin's a very addictive drug. It's not just something that people can just put down. Once you get into that type of lifestyle, you can't get enough of it. So another thing is I want to talk about a tolerance that people build up. Obviously, when people do heroin in great excess, they need more to be able to get more in them to be able to feel it. Now, when somebody goes in through the detox phase and they get off of heroin, they're then cleared out. And so the problem is they go back and they try some heroin. And sometimes you never know what's in that heroin. It might be very powerful. It might be laced with something. But because their bodies are cleared out, they often experience an overdose because their bodies just can't handle the dosage of whatever they're using. They might do a little too much, or they might be convinced that they're not going to overshoot the mark, or what they're doing is not going to actually affect them. I don't think most people that overdose on heroin never really have the idea or the thought during that time that I'm going to do this and it might kill me. They're more thinking that it's not going to kill me. I'll just do it in a small dose and I'll be good. But you never know what your body can handle or what it can't handle. So if you know somebody who's suffering from heroin addiction and you don't know what to do, or they're struggling, or if you yourself are struggling with heroin addiction, please feel free to reach out. We're here to help you.